I want to talk to y'all for a quick beat about the interview process. Kind of like the broad strokes. There's really sort of like 4 steps to the interview that we have to be on top of. The first step is what we call second manning, which is a lot of what y'all will be doing early on. Noah's been doing a great job with this for the last week. But second manning is where we get a chance to really help sort of demonstrate and establish our culture and frame expectations the right way to make the interview that much more productive. So first thing is second manning. Second thing is the pre-interview. And the pre-interview is when we actually sit down with people at the beginning. It's usually one at a time. The third part is the group interview, and that's where we play the video, but there's more to it than just the video. There's some offices that they don't get consistently good show, or they don't get the right people to show because they literally just walk in, they're like, hey, watch this, push play, and that's basically it. Again, there's a script for this, and the whole interview is like 4 pages long. The interview used to be 36 pages long, FYI. Serious as a heart attack. It was 36 pages long. So it's not hard, but doing it the right way makes a big difference. And then the last step is the post-interview. Okay, the post-interview is after that group session. That's where we grab them back, again, 1 or 2 at a time, and get a chance to sort of wrap things up. But what I mostly wanted to focus in to start is on the second manning. One of the most challenging things when we have times like this, and for about the next 4 weeks, it's a pretty crazy time with interviews and building. Now, we'll still keep doing it all summer, but the next 4 weeks is where it's really intense. When you have like 4 interviews a day and you have 20-something people set per, and there's always an element of just, we don't know how many you're going to show. And that's normal, just so you know. Like company-wide, it's something like maybe 40%. You know, if we set 10 people, 4 out of 10 show for the interview. Except sometimes it's 80.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll have 30 people set for an interview, and like we realistically could have 9 or 22 show, and neither are particularly surprising. And so it's very easy to get just sort of backed up, and it's very easy for us to sort of get into this very rushed mentality. It's kiss of death. It's the kiss of death. Okay, I'm sure you've heard the metaphor of just like a duck on a pond, but when things get busy, that's one of the reasons we have a bigger staff here. Like, you know, under the surface, like you're kick, and everything is crazy, but up top, like you're gliding. It's smooth, it's cool, everything that's happening is exactly what's supposed to happen. And one of the reasons that's really important is because your energy will introduce yourself before your words ever have a chance. Okay, so like when someone comes in for an interview and we're already behind, you know, it's very easy to be like, oh, okay, hey, sign in right here. Here's an application, and you start to cut corners. It's very easy. Even the way you walk in, you're almost like shuffle running. I laugh sometimes. I've seen everyone do it. It's like shuffle run, and I'm like, don't do that. You got to be chill. I'd rather take 2 people at a time and have kind of that better sort of energy. And again, as it is right now, we don't even need to take 2 at a time. So when it comes to kind of the second manning, all right, let's go through a couple things. First off, when people are looking for a job is stressful. Just inherently, it's stressful. A lot of people who come into the interviews, they're super nervous. A lot of times they just feel like they've been beaten around because they've been to a bunch of interviews and they either don't hear back or anything else. And sometimes people just straight up come in skeptical because of misinformation. They've heard stuff about us that just isn't true. Now we can yell about that or be mad about that, but honestly, we can't change how they come to us, if you follow me on that. So like properly second manning is what's going to provide that positive first impression. I'm a big believer that people remember first impressions and last impressions. They remember how they feel at the beginning, and they remember like what they thought at the end. So those are the 2 areas that I think we can have the biggest impact. So when people are coming in for the interview, like there's a ritual we want to have. As soon as someone walks in the door, okay? Like if you're sitting behind the desk, well, first off, I like to make an effort to stand if I can. And before we ever have them sign or anything else, there should always be an introduction. And that's an area where this week, like even with some of the experienced guys, because it's been so busy, I've heard them just going, oh, you're here for the interview? Great, sign in. Okay, here's an application. Shouldn't be that way. Okay, hey, are you here for the interview? Oh, great. What's your name? Kevin? Kevin, my name is Brian Carter. I'm actually the owner here at the office. Hey, my name is Bailey Brand. I'm one of the assistant managers here at the office. Hey, we were expecting you. That little 2-line thing, this is my name and title, we were expecting you. You know, because we are, like their name is in the system. They're set for an interview. Those 2 things, it's amazing, even just that, how much of a better start it is than someone just like a cattle call. Like sign in, go in there, sign in, go in there. Right. I don't care how many people there are. It doesn't take long. Hey, what's your name? Kevin? Great, my name is Brian Carter. I'm the owner of the office. Hey, we were expecting you. I'm glad you made it here today. Let me go ahead and have you sign in for me here really quick. Let me do that. Great. So I have this clipboard here. This has got an application on it. I'm going to ask you to fill that out for us. If you brought a resume, you can just attach that too. But still want you to fill this out. Once you've finished that, on the back, there's a position description. So make sure you get a chance to look that over before we get a chance to actually sit down with you. Once you have this done, if you'll bring it back out to the front to me, that'd be super, super helpful, okay? Hey, let me take you back to the waiting room, and either myself or one of the other managers will be with you here really shortly. Walk them in, sit them down, and it makes a huge, huge difference. So again, Big thing when they first come in, make sure you're controlling the first impression. Make sure it's not a cattle call. What's your name? Great, here's who I am, here's my title. We were expecting you. In a perfect world, before the interview even starts, I think part of second manning where you can add a lot of value is certain things just become white noise. All right, like you can only have a pile on your desk so long before it's just part of the desk now. You follow me on that? Like you don't even notice it. Like my car is dirty and I've been meaning to clean it for 11 years. Not really, and my car isn't that old, but you'll get my point on that. Like you don't even notice it. So sometimes the person running the interview, they're so used to this or that or whatever, it's just white noise. I had a branch manager that my very first manager I ever promoted all the way back in 2005 or 2006, Brianna Pace. Brianna was amazing. And I remember talking to her at the end of her first summer, and she said she nearly didn't come to training. Okay, and this happens. There's always that knife's edge where it could have gone either way. She nearly didn't come to training because of cobwebs. Hear me out. Now you can say like this that seems either sort of shallow or that's super nitpicky, but she was like, you just she goes, I was into what you were saying. Like I was into it. She goes, international marketing firm, like 70 years in business, hundreds of millions of dollars, really cool young team of professionals. You seemed cool enough. You seemed nice enough. I can hang with you. She goes, but everything you were saying, I was looking around the office and like the corner, there's just these freaking cobwebs in the corner. It's kind of an old building. And she goes, and there was just like little shards of paper and stuff on the floor. And she goes, I'm not saying that any of that was a big deal, but it was dissident. Yeah. When you're telling me one thing, but what I'm seeing just didn't line up with that. Yeah. She goes, I can't even tell you why, but just somewhere in my head, it just kind of makes me go like, is this guy for real or is this guy kind of full of it a little bit? You with me on that? So now don't get me wrong, like that's an impossible standard to live up to. Yeah. Like there's one speck of paper on the floor and therefore we lose out on the next, branch manager. That's an impossible standard. And I didn't carry that with a lot of pressure, but I did carry it as like, okay, cool. What that means is we just need to live up to the level we want to present ourselves as. Yeah. So sometimes, like even before the interview starts, like if I'm running the interview or Shelly's running the interview, they might be like kind of scrambling around, running, going over numbers. Before the first person comes in, just walk in. Like our chair's kind of in the middle of the room. You know what I mean? Like, or they sort of just put back in. It's stuff like that doesn't. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's not a big deal. But it just helps that first impression. It's that thing that people can't always put their tongue. They can't put their finger on why did I feel a certain way. And we're not trying to control literally how people feel, but we want to make sure we're not doing anything that lets us start in the hole. You follow me on that? Okay, so little things like that, like just doing the walk through the room, making sure that there's something on, like walking into an empty, silent room is just nerve-wracking. That's why we do the music videos. It doesn't have to be music videos. We have this trivia video that goes for like an hour that we can put that on. You could have a radio on, but I like that because it's just a certain energy that comes from music. It blocks out that white noise. Bingo. And it's just kind of part of our culture. It's like, that's why it has a bunch of like OK Go videos they're just weird. Yeah. They're just weird. But I like that because it's sort of it's kind of a conversation thing, but at least that's better than just you staring at your shoes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with like, these guys are weird or wow, they really like Mumford & Sons. Okay, like I'm fine with any of that, but there's a reason we do that. So making sure it's on an appropriate volume. I hate it when I walk by and the room is either silent, but I say it when I walk by and just because the video was a little too quiet, so someone turned it up and then someone puts the music on and they just didn't really think to check and it's just like blasting and that's obnoxious and unprofessional too. Sure. So, what I'm saying? Just little things like that. Just like, turn it on if you're not sure how to cue it up, talk to us. But keep in mind that whoever is greeting, you're that first impression. Firm handshakes matter, making sure you're dressed appropriately. What does appropriate mean? I don't know, just dress in such a way people take you seriously. The person running the interview has the highest bar they need to clear, if you're with me on that. Right. So I think they're the ones that need to look the best. But just keep in mind that like you're the first impression. Just never be the reason that we put anything in behind. Make eye contact, friendly smiles. It's all the stuff that's so basic, but it makes such a big difference. Keep the communication professional, but still friendly. When it comes time to where the room starts to get full, though, okay? That's where having someone actually go in the room can be really, really useful. If most of the applicants who are probably coming have arrived, going in there and just introducing yourself. And a lot of times people say, they're like, oh, I don't know what to say or something like that. Again, you literally talk about anything other than the job. That's it. Anything other than the job. Just walk around. Hey, I didn't get to meet you when you came in. Shake their hand. Be like, oh, where'd you go to school? Or what part of town are you from? And then just find some connective tissue. Like, oh, you went to Lake Highlands. Oh, some of my really good friends went to Lake Highlands. We used to play them in basketball. Did you do any sports over there? Or what'd you like to do in high school? And I'm just kind of leaning against the desk casually and just chit-chatting, And it's just kind of to warm it up a little bit. Not trying to entertain them, like do it in a way that just sort of seems natural. And it's okay to just step back out because you need to take a call or greet someone, and then come back in and be like, hey, by the way, so I know that I know that Bailey, you went to Hockaday. I'm I didn't catch, where did you go to school? And it's just kind of chit-chatting. When you're in there, people see you as an authority figure because you are. To be clear, you are. You're all managers. So it's not weird for them to ask you questions, by the way. Like, that's not a weird thing. But you also don't want to get in there where you're like bank shot accidentally interviewing 18 people at a time. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. So when they ask questions, here's what you do. Oh, hey, that's a great question. When they sit down with you, the manager, they're going to go over that with you. Yeah, I just wanted to get you to know a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? And you just sort of, you blow it off, but it's in this very light, positive way. Oh, that's a great question. Hey, they're going to go over all that stuff with you. I just wanted to come and introduce myself. So tell me again, what about you? Where are you going to college right now? And it's okay. Hey, I'm a student at OU myself. Where are you going? Also, don't try to fake bake that you're older than you are. There's like one of two things that happens when it comes to age thing. You either come across like super insecure because of it, or you come across super empowered because of it. Like, those are your only options. Now, their response to that, you can't control. That you can't control. But I still think it's better to be very empowered by it. So if someone ever asks how old you are, first off, it's okay to just be like, literally none of your business. Okay? But I don't know that that's really worth it. That comes across kind of insecure.
Yeah.
I think a better answer is, hey, actually, I'm 19. I started last year when I was 18. I was one of the top performers in the office. So that's how I got a chance to be in our management program. And it's been amazing. Yeah. There's an old thing in marketing. If you don't like what people are saying about you, change the conversation. And don't literally just be like, counterpoint, have you seen a movie? Okay? But as an example, one of the things y'all can go back to is not necessarily your age, but your experience in the company. Yeah. Oh, actually, I just finished up my first year of college. I started last year fresh out of high school and had a great experience. I was one of the top performers in the office. And so because of that, I've had a chance to enter into our management program. And it's been amazing. I love the fact this company gives great opportunities to young professionals. And that's kind of how you change conversation, where it's not about how old you are, it's about, oh, you've been here a year. And these people are zygotes. Okay, they're not even birthed yet. All right, they don't even count. If that's the thing that keeps someone from coming in, I don't want them anyway. So I'm not worried about that. But my point being, it's not about them asking the question, or it's not about them being weird. We get weird about it. We get defensive about it. And then that kills everything. So when in doubt, just always default to, hey, actually, I just finished my first year of college. I started a year ago here with our company. I was one of our top performers in the office. And so I've had a chance to grow. It's one of the things I love about this company. Young is not a dirty word here. I love saying that. Young is not a dirty word here. For us, it's about merit. We have old people on our team like Brian, and we got young bucks like me, and that's what makes our team so awesome. But that's what you do. It's that low-key confidence. Like, it's the way you answer it matters more than anything. So you're going to get that question. To never be thrown off about that. When the second interview is over, like that group interview, okay, sometimes you'll be helping do the post interviews. We'll train you up on that first. But there's still a great opportunity there for second manning, because when they're all just sort of sitting there, again, we put the videos on so there's a little bit of interaction. And you do want to give them a chance to like breathe and fill out the acceptance criteria sheet, and also write down the PRs at the bottom. So you want to encourage that sort of thing. So don't like steamroll. Like, don't come across like you're afraid for them to be in the room. But once a little bit of time's gone by, they've taken the first person or two, there's nothing wrong with you going in there and just kind of hanging out again. Just sort of light chit-chat stuff. Same thing, it's very common for them to ask questions because you're a manager. Hey, that's a great question. I know Kim wants to go over that with you, so jot that down so that way you don't forget it. There you go. It's like, it's just literally, it's not even a question. Hey, great question, jot that down so you don't forget it, because Kim's going to go over that with you in a sec. And then you just chit-chat with them a little bit more. Talk about anything other than the job. Okay, and one of the most underestimated things is use people's name. Like, use their name. And if you forget it, it's okay. Just tell them you forgot. Hey, by the way, I know we shook hands earlier. Honestly, I just totally forgot. What was your name one more time? Amari? Great. Hey, my name is Brian. You probably forgot that too. Well, actually, it's on the back wall, so maybe you didn't, but still. Okay? But you get what I'm saying? Like it's okay. Like, be real with people. Like, you don't need to be fake. Be authentic, and use that back part as a great excuse to try and name drop. We literally, we keep a spreadsheet, and I'm sure we need to update it, but we keep a spreadsheet, and it's almost like a great cheat sheet, and it just has like different schools in the area and like great people that we've had on our team from those schools. And not that you need to memorize it, but like, if Bailey knows there's like 3 people in that interview she really liked, they were cool people, and like one's from Lake Highlands, one's from Pierce, one's from somewhere else, well, while the group interview is going on, maybe just pull that spreadsheet up to where you can just name drop. Now, don't get me wrong. I know some of these schools have 8 billion people, okay? For every, like, Hockaday, there's, like, a Pierce. We're graduating class is 1 million. I get that. It's not that they have to know that person, but it's just like, hey, we've had a lot of great people from Lake Highlands. Yeah, you may have actually known Blake Luter or Kyle Kennedy or Kendall Kagler. I mean, hell, if you look around the office long enough, I guarantee you'll see photos of some folks you recognize. Just kind of casual things like that. I think the biggest thing to realize is that by you guys being in there, not only does it provide us with just credibility, and it's not your part to where like you got to make them laugh or entertain them, but when you can sit there and you're coming across like, wow, these are people that I would enjoy spending time with. You know what I mean? That's it. It's not that you're being overly friendly, anything like that, but it's just where they're like, yeah, I could see spending time with this crew, between maybe they met with Kim for the pre-interview, maybe they met with Shelly in the group interview. And so they're already getting a little bit of an impression of the staff, and then kind of you take it home. It makes such a huge difference. I can tell you we've tracked this. When we second man interviews, on average, our show to training is like 8% higher. We do all this work. Part of it is we spend all this time. And if like that one little extra nugget of like spending that time with people, like that could be the difference between us having literally 10% more people and 10% more badasses, and we give 10% more people a shot. We're doing the work anyway. That's where it's at. Just make sure that for the next day or two, we really laser in heavy on second interviewing or second manning, and then we'll do pre's and post later in the week. I'm not worried about that. Sound good?
Yep.
Awesome. All right.